My tranquil creek turned into a battleground when the HOA labeled it a hazard to kids and forced me to drain it. They never saw it coming when that water carved a new path straight through their pristine homes. What would you do if the people who wrecked your paradise found their yards sinking into a swamp of their own making? Water lapped at my boots as I strolled along the creek bed, its soft murmur calming me after 12 years in Willow Creek Estates. Birds sang above, and dragonflies danced over the surface. This stream in my backyard was my sanctuary after grueling days as a plumber. I'd sit here, letting the stress of unclogging pipes dissolve. Mr. Carter. Hey, Mr. Carter. I turned to see Lily and Max Evans waving from my property line. The neighbor kids often visited to chase frogs or watch minnows sip through the shallow water. Can we hunt for tadpoles? Max shouted. Go for it, I grinned. But put them back when you're done. Their laughter filled the air as they hopped from rock to rock, their parents trusting me to keep an eye out. The creek was barely ankle-deep, teeming with life that enchanted the neighborhood kids. I had no clue this serene scene was about to ignite a war. Trouble arrived in a fancy envelope from the Oakwood HOA, a group I'd never heard of. Our quiet neighborhood had been swallowed by the HOA from the upscale development nearby. The packet demanded dues, listed rules on everything from lawn height to Christmas lights, and included a chilling note: ignoring it meant automatic consent. I tossed it aside, but 3 days later, Susan Reynolds knocked on my door. I'm the Oakwood HOA Standards Chair, she said, her smile sharp as a blade. You haven't signed the agreement, I told her. I wasn't interested. Her eyes gleamed. It's not optional. Your deed allows an HOA if 75% of homeowners agree, and we've hit that mark. She handed me a highlighted deed clause. I'd owned my home for over a decade. How was this buried in there? Grudgingly, I signed, but when she glanced at my creek and called it an unapproved water feature, my gut twisted. It's a natural stream, I snapped. It predates my house. She just smirked. It's a safety issue. The Evans kids could drown. We'll discuss it at the meeting. The HOA meeting was a circus. Susan and her husband, Paul Reynolds, the HOA president, preached about property value protection. My creek was their final target. Susan flashed a photo of it on a projector. This hazard on Pine Lane risks children's lives. I shot up. It's a natural creek, 4 inches deep, there for decades. Susan didn't flinch. Bylaws require approved, fenced water features. Lisa Evans, the kid's mom, vouched for its safety, but Susan shut her down. Do you have liability insurance for accidents on Mr. Carter's property? The room went quiet. Paul added, fence it or fill it in within 30 days. I stormed out, sensing something sinister behind their crusade. That night, I studied my property survey. The creek flowed from the northeast, near the Reynolds mansion in the new development. Under the cover of darkness, I traced it upstream to a retention pond behind their neighborhood. A hidden drainage pipe fed my creek, leading straight to their street. Snapping photos, I caught Paul dumping something into the pond. Dead fish floated up. My phone pinged with an HOA email, a $500 fine for my unapproved water feature, and a 30-day deadline to drain it. This wasn't about kids, it was personal. The next morning, Susan and 2 board members trampled my garden for their inspection. Vegetable gardens can't be street visible, she snapped, crushing my tomatoes. It's my backyard, I roared. She cited obscure bylaws, listing my creek's sins. Wildlife attraction, mosquito breeding. I argued moving water doesn't breed mosquitoes, but she scoffed. Are you a scientist? I called a lawyer, Maria Lopez, who warned that fighting an HOA could take years and thousands. A certified letter soon arrived: drain the creek or face $100 daily fines. Desperate, I dug into county records and found the creek was part of the Willow Creek watershed, draining an underground spring beneath the Reynolds neighborhood. A neighbor, Rachel Kim, tipped me off about Dr. Elena Torres, a local professor who'd fought the development years ago. In her cluttered office, Dr. Torres confirmed my fears. Your creek is a pressure valve for groundwater. Block it, and the water will flood elsewhere. She pointed to a map. The spring ran under the Reynolds home. At the next HOA meeting, I presented my findings. This creek prevents flooding, Dr. Torres says. Susan cut me off. We've consulted experts. Who? I demanded. Paul silenced me. Next speaker. But neighbors whispered support. That night, rain poured as HOA hired crews buried my creek in pipes. By dawn, it was a barren scar of mud. Lily and Max helped me save stranded minnows, their faces grim. Where's the water going? Max asked. I stared at the Reynolds Hilltop mansion. We'll see. 3 days later, a storm hit. At 2 a.m., Rachel woke me. Flooding on Oak Drive! I grabbed my camera. Water gushed from storm drains, pooling around the Reynolds street. Basements flooded, foundations shifted. Susan and Paul, in monogrammed raincoats, scrambled to save their lawn while ignoring neighbors. I filmed it all, recalling Dr. Torres. Water finds the path of least resistance. Without my creek, they had chosen their homes. The chaos escalated. Sirens blared as crews pumped out basements. A news crew interviewed me. My creek managed water flow, but the HOA forced me to drain it. Susan swooped in, blaming city infrastructure, but the reporter wasn't buying it. The Evans home was hit hardest, irreplaceable heirlooms ruined. Lisa cried. Insurance won't cover it, we're in a flood zone now. At an emergency HOA meeting, I projected watershed maps. This flooding isn't random. The creek was a natural drain. You removed it. Paul accused me of sabotage, but neighbors roared back. Margaret Lee, a retired county worker, announced, "Engineers are coming tomorrow. This is a public health emergency." The county report was brutal. The flooding stemmed from my creek's removal. My tires were slashed that night, a note reading, "Back off." I called the police and a reporter. The headline screamed, HOA blamed for floods. Neighbors shared tales of HOA tyranny, fines, forced removals. At Rachel's secret meeting, we planned to restore drainage points under the guise of gardening. 20 of us dug up buried streams, unearthing construction debris. Susan caught us, screaming about vandalism, but I quoted her bylaws back. Homeowners may maintain drainage systems. A crowd gathered, emboldening us. That night rain tested our work. Water flowed smoothly through the restored channels, pooling in the Reynolds yard as a pristine pond, nature's comeback. News crews filmed Susan's defeat. At the final HOA meeting, neighbors presented a petition, ousting the board. Rachel became president, vowing to restore the creek. Months later, my creek sparkled again, kids playing nearby. The Reynoldses sold their home at a loss and fled. A lawsuit settled damages, and a heron graced the water's edge. Nature had spoken. What do you think? Was our fight against the HOA justified, or did we go too far? Share your thoughts below, especially on using nature's pranks to settle scores. Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where underdogs bite back.